Why do people really do the things they do? It's a huge question, right? Well, today we're going to dive into this hidden world, this unspoken language that's driving pretty much everything we do.
I mean, have you ever had that feeling, where you're in a conversation and you just know there's something else going on? Like a whole other layer of communication happening right under the surface. It's in the gestures, the expressions, stuff we usually miss. But what if you could actually learn to read that? So that's where the work of Chase Hughes comes in. He's developed this really fascinating, kind of systematic way to decode this whole unspoken world. You can almost think of it like a user's manual for people, something designed to make you a much sharper observer, not just of others, but of yourself too.
All right, so let's get right to the core of this whole thing. The entire system, really, is built on one single foundational idea. Pretty much everything we do, every action, is driven by these really deep, often unconscious psychological needs. And this right here, this is the key. Seriously, whether you realize you're doing it or not, every single thing you do is an attempt to meet some kind of fundamental need. And if you can understand that need, well, that's the first huge step to understanding the behavior itself.
Okay, so how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, let's look at three really powerful needs that honestly get confused all the time: appreciation, approval, and acceptance. They sound similar, but they are worlds apart. First up, let's talk about the appreciation seeker. This person is all about feeling valued for what they contribute. You know this person, right? They're always the one helping out, trying to make things better for everybody, doing things that benefit the whole group. The key here is they want to be valued for what they do. Okay, now let's compare that to the approval seeker. This is totally different. This person isn't so much concerned with being useful. They need to hear that they are right. They absolutely crave agreement, and you'll see them switch up their own opinions in a heartbeat the second they sense someone disagrees. They're really just looking for that permission slip, that validation.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because it all comes down to a core fear. For the appreciation seeker, they are terrified of being abandoned or rejected. So what do? They make themselves useful to make sure they have a spot. But the approval seeker, their biggest fear is just disagreement. That's it. So you can see their motivations are coming from completely different places. Yeah, and this little table just lays it all out crystal clear. The appreciation seeker does stuff that actually benefits other people. The approval seeker, they just change what they think to match the room. One person gets their sense of self from being helpful, the other gets it just from hearing, I agree. It's really the difference between someone who wants to hear thank you and someone who needs to hear you're right. And then, to round it out, you've got the acceptance seeker. And this takes it to a whole other level. We're not just talking about tweaking a few actions or opinions anymore. No, this person is willing to change their entire identity just to fit in. Their biggest fear is being ridiculed, so they'll change how they dress, how they talk, even their core values, just to blend in and become part of the group. Okay, so that's the why, right? The hidden needs that are pulling the strings behind our behavior. So now let's shift gears and get to the how. How do you actually observe this stuff in the wild? There's a practical tool for that. Just imagine for a second. What if you could look at all of human behavior, not as this big, chaotic mess, but like a scientist looks at the periodic table? A set of elements you can actually identify, categorize, and understand. Well, that's pretty much the whole idea here. And this is the centerpiece. It's called the cell key. Now, I know it looks a little complicated at first glance, but hang with me. Think of it like a nutrition label, but for a specific behavior. Each one of these little boxes just answers a really simple question. Like, gesture type is just asking, hey, was that movement open or was it closed? Body region just means where on the body did you see it? It's all about taking something that feels random and turning it into a real observation. Now, one of the most fascinating parts of this whole system for sure is something called the deception rating scale. Let's call it the DRS. Basically, every little behavior you can observe gets a score, and that score is based on how closely it's linked to stress, which, as you can imagine, can be a pretty strong clue that maybe, just maybe, some deception is going on. And here it is, the magic number, 11. According to this system, when you see a bunch of behaviors happening together and you add up their deception scores, if that total hits 11 or more, that's a major red flag. It's a sign that deception is very likely in play. It's a simple, really practical number to keep in mind. So, okay, we've talked about the hidden needs, we've looked at a system for actually spotting behaviors, but
what's the point of all this? What's the real advantage you get from becoming a better observer?
And this is so important because as powerful as all these tools are for figuring other people out, their real value, their greatest power, comes when you turn them around and look inward. The source material couldn't be clearer about this. True mastery isn't about analyzing and judging other people. It starts with self-awareness. It's all about understanding your own patterns, your own needs, and how you show up in the world.
I mean, when you look at the full table, you can see just how deep this system goes. It's a lot. But don't get lost in all that complexity. The real power here isn't about memorizing every single element on the chart. It's about using the whole idea, the framework, to become more aware of your own stuff, your actions, your needs, and how you impact every single conversation you're a part of.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. After all this, what's the one behavior, whether it's in yourself or maybe someone else, that you're going to start paying a little more attention to? Just one. Give that some thought, because honestly, that's where the real journey begins.